Yeah, every year presents different challenges, and you have to keep the cap in mind, obviously, that we're all up against. You don't want to mortgage too much of the future, and you want to remain competitive as long as you can. So I think ideally we'd like to keep the core players that we have, the very good players that we have, and they're all very good. And I don't want to name players because I don't want to leave any out, because they're all in one way, shape, or form a priority. But you want to try to keep as many as you can, and you want to keep the pipeline coming from the players that we already have and give them opportunities. So, one door closes, another one opens. And so we feel like we have some players that could surprise some people next year if they're given the opportunity. I think Keyshawn has made massive strides this year. And I think Keyshawn has the ability to be a starting running back. But in that stable, you want multiple running backs that can help carry the load and do different things. So, but we think very highly of Keyshawn. A lot. I've learned a lot from Coach Belichick. Yeah, we could talk here for a long time about that. All the lessons you learn from him, and what he's done is, I don't know if will ever happen again. Keeping it sustainable as long as he has, but sure try to take a lot of those things that I learned there and apply them here. Well, just assigning values, like you said, knowing when to move on from a player, knowing when it's time for from fresh blood. But at the same time, I don't like to let really good players go if we can help it. No, I think with a Tom Brady, I personally never want to completely close the door. Now, I don't have any information that suggests that he is going to come back. I mean, I'm very good friends with him. We talk. We haven't talked about that. I don't want to apply any pressure, but in that regard, right now. But he's Tom Brady. If a Tom Brady wants to come back, we'd welcome him back. It just depends. We have a little time here before free agency hits. It depends on what we do in free agency. I'm not saying that we're, by any means, we're planning on this happening. I just made a remark this morning that we'll leave a light on for him. Well, that hasn't happened, so that's a hypothetical. So. We'll be talking to Rob's agent here. I think Rob just wanted a little time to think about his future. But once again, he's another great player at his position. So would be excited if he did want to come back. He's one of those players I mentioned. I didn't want to mention any by name because I didn't want to leave any out. But Jordan has become a very good player for us, and just his presence on defense when we didn't have him due to injury, you could see what we were missing, a little bit of juice and from him, and he provided that. He's been a good player for us. He's been a great pick for us. I'm proud of our staff for where we drafted him and what he's become. And ideally, he's another player. I'll keep saying it. Ideally, I'd love to have him back, but we'll have to see how it goes with all these players. We would prioritize what we think gives the best chance for us to continue to have success. Well, I had some experience with him in New England, so maybe I wasn't quite as wide-eyed as some of the people around the building. But it's been fantastic. It became normalized to talk to him every day and be a part of what we were doing and and just talk to him on the field about anything and everything. He's a special player, special person, and it's hard to say that we'll ever come across another Tom Brady. Yeah, from what I understand, his rehab's going well. He's been a special player as well for us. He's really overachieved in relation to where he was drafted and where we got him. It's hard to imagine Buccaneers offense without Chris Godwin, and love to have him back, and we'll continue to try to work towards that. It's going well. We want to make sure that he's 100% before he gets back out there. I think there would have been a chance if we continued to play in the postseason that he may have been able to play. But we're going to take it, be very careful with him. So when he gets out there and he's fully 100%. So I'm just saying I expect him to be ready for camp. It may be before that. No. Nick he's a great person. He's very, very detailed, works very, very hard, knows the game very well. He's a very good leader in that regard, and I have nothing but fond memories of working with Nick from when he was a scouting assistant, a coaching intern, to moving his way up to where he is now. Well, when we signed Tom 2 years ago, none of us knew how long it would be. And if it was 1 year, 2 years, I was hoping until he was 50. But no one really knew. And so not really a total shocking surprise when, he's the type that evaluates everything, continues to evaluate everything. And, he literally went out on top if he did, in fact, retire. So, we just never took advantage of the days that we had with him and never took them for granted.
You touched on it a little bit earlier, but your depth was tested this year. So did that kind of let you see some guys that maybe you wouldn't have earlier, and with all these incoming free agents, who might step up and why not?
Yeah, over the last couple of years, but this year particularly, we did have some depth. We did get tested. Our depth did get tested because of some injuries on the defense in particular, and then offensively late in the year. And we were all very proud of the guys that did step up. And we do know with a few players that did get an opportunity, we were able to fully evaluate them to know what their role could be moving forward. Yeah, you always want to have, it starts up front. And you always want to have a strong offensive line. And I think our offensive line was a major key to our success in winning the Super Bowl and having a really good record this year. So we want to continue to build that offensive line or retain the players that we have on that offensive line to continue that position group being strong. And we'll just have to see how it goes. Sometimes what you want to do and what happens are two different things, but we definitely ideally would like to keep it moving forward. Positions that stand out? Yeah, there's always a lot. It seems recently a lot of receivers in the draft, so I think that'll continue. There's some good edge rushers in this draft. There's some good corners and safeties in this draft. I don't know if the numbers are as high at those positions as they have been in the past, but in terms of the top of the draft, but there's a lot of depth, in the middle, late rounds at those positions. I really would be I don't know right now. I know there's a lot of chatter about it, and I know that we'll hit on that at the owners' meetings. A young player. Well, I'll single out two, KJ Britt and Grant Stewart, for the roles that we drafted them for and to play on special teams, I thought they did a fantastic job. And they'll continue to grow as position players as well. And we have a lot of we think KJ's got a really good chance to be a good linebacker as well as Grant in some sort of role on defense at some point. So I was just the way they brought their energy every day. I thought was really the entire team benefited from just the way they carried themselves. Well, we thought he made some big steps. He played mostly in rotation. He's going to have to get a little bit stronger and a little bit more discipline in the run game, but that will come, and that's easy to. That usually happens with a young pass rusher coming in for his first year as a rookie. So that's the thing that you need to develop the most. He's definitely skilled as a rusher and has upside as well as there, and we'll get better there as well. Well, it does happen every year. Quarterbacks usually do get pushed up. And, we say that we predict what these quarterbacks are going to do, but then one can go 199 and become the greatest player of all time. So, people are going to pick their poisons. Other people may think that quarterbacks have them rated higher or lower than what we do. But, yeah, in general, quarterbacks usually do get pushed up. There's always some chatter. There's always some talk. It's usually a little bit more talk than it is action. I think he will compete. We love what Suckup has done for us the last couple of years. But Jose has a strong leg, and he's been consistent for us all year in practice. Practice and games are two separate things. But I think I am excited to see what he does this year in camp. I think one thing that doesn't get talked about enough, and just because we have seen the best for the last couple of years, is the leadership that a quarterback has and how important that is. How his teammates feel about him and how they want to work for him and how he gets the best out of his players. He doesn't have to be the most talented, doesn't have to have the strongest arm. He does need to be smart, and he does need to be a true leader in order to get the best out and elevate his teammates. And that's hard to gauge. He's been the center pivot of our offense. We signed him when we did to elevate and set the tone of the toughness of the team, and he's definitely done that. So I think for me, it's a definite priority. I want to continue that. I think it's going to depend on who's there, on how much we like the quarterback and how much we like him compared to other players that are on the board. I don't believe necessarily in just taking a quarterback to take a quarterback. A cornerback. I'm sorry. I wish we had 15 picks so we could take multiple players, especially in the secondary, because, it's just by law of averages, they're not going to work. They're not all going to work out, but the ones that do, you put a premium on. So, cornerback is a very important part of the defense. I would say pass rusher, corner, your offensive line, and quarterback. So, thanks,
coming back to this city and seeing everything closed. It's amazing because I love this town. You know, I just live downtown, and to see everything empty is really heartbreaking. And it's really my first taste of seeing a northern city in COVID and what has happened to it. So God bless Indianapolis. Yeah, we haven't been, we were here for a game, but it was just in and out. I didn't come down to see where I used, always hang out,
Can we talk about the late the shoes of Tom Brady and how you guys have made the press back more in the draft and what you're looking for in a prospect?
Well, we addressed it last year. We drafted Kyle Trask #2 for a reason. Fits everything that we want to do as a quarterback, and really like what I saw for a year. So I doubt drafting is an option. For all the other guys, it's going to be a trade. Well, you don't trade by yourself. You got to have a partner. So that could be out of the question. Oh, that door's never closed. Whenever Tom wants it back, he's back.
So how do you plan for the offseason, though?
Yeah, you just go on because I think if Tom comes back, we'll have plenty of money for him. Oh, there's no doubt. Great young players. I mean, that was a tough game we had last year. And, I'm a big Josh Allen fan. So, and that defense is fantastic. So Sean does a great job. So we'll have our hands full for sure. No, not really. As far as the draft, free agency's first. And trying to get as many of our guys back as we possibly can. Obviously, with Allie's retirement, threw a little wrench into it, but we'll work through that and see how much continuity we can keep in our offensive line. That's always key, and the quarterback issue will take care of itself. I thought it was a great move. Yeah, I mean, we practice against Coach Flo down in Miami, and great dude, hell of a coach, and needs to be a head coach in this league. Obviously, I think Mike did a great job bringing him on, brought in a hell of a football coach, and I think it helped the Steelers organization. Yeah, I mean, for us right now, it's quickness. We've got strength. We've got plenty of strength. We need some quickness, some interior pass rush. We've got a good outside pass rush. So for us, it's watching these guys and seeing who's inside interior pass rush, but still stout enough to stop the run. But, we don't need another Vita. There's not another one out there anyway, but we need something. And if we get our guys back, I'm fine too, but something quicker in there.
Going a different route that is not Tom Brady. What is a Arians quarterback?
Grit. I mean, he's got to be tough and a leader. A guy that the team will follow, and he's got to know what the hell he's doing. I mean, he cannot turn the ball over.
Tom says he wants to come back and play with another team. Do you envision kind of right?
No.
Is that because it's acrimonious or still want him?
Bad business. I think he can do both. That's what's great about him. He's going to be a premier outside guy as he learns to use his strength more and not always on all that speed, And but yeah, I think he's going to be a dominant player outside.
Tom doesn't think he's retired. Is there a priority on bringing in a veteran quarterback?
Well, there's very, very few available unless you're via trade. Blaine Gabbert's been in this system for a long time now, and his talent is more than enough. So if we go free agency-wise, we'll probably bring him back.
How much do you value that continuity? Would you be okay going into next season with Trask and let's say Blaine Gabbert?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be very, very comfortable, because they know what they're doing. They've both shown they can do it. And so, yeah, and with our defense, they know what we want out of our quarterback.
Jason talked about leadership as far as something that he values now in a quarterback after seeing what Tom Brady's been able to do. Does he have the ability to step up and take?
Yeah, I think he's got all the respect in the locker room. They saw him help Tom, and he's helped each and every one of those guys on offense and some on defense. He's got a great relationship in that locker room, and I think they also see what Kyle can do, and what he's got going forward.
Chris Godwin, you talked about a lot before, but do you see if you were to lose somebody like that, it's just hard to find a player that can be like a one-to-one?
Yeah, I've only had two under before, Hines Ward and Larry Fitzgerald, so I don't really want to lose Chris. They're hard to find. Reggie Wayne too. He's the other one. Yeah. Yeah, knowing Chris and the way he works, and he had good surgery, so those guys are coming back faster and faster and faster now, and I don't think that's going to be a problem at all.
Such continuity on that offensive line this year, and it's part of the reason you guys were so successful. How big of a challenge is it not to have Alex five Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, we can't replace the player, but if we can get back Ryan and Alex and Stinnie, they all played together, Nick Leverett played, so we went through 7 or 8 offensive linemen last year. Those 5 guys were Iron Men for most of the year till January, but yeah, I think we're fine there.
How is it possible that a guy like that would get all those coordinators and coaches at 32 and now suddenly become more than what other people see about him? In other words,
Yeah, I think everybody's judged on record, and when you're playing on a shitty team and you get drafted high, number 1, you're probably on a shitty team. Very seldom, Ben was lucky, he went to the Steelers. He dropped to 11 and got on a good team. But you go through those growing pains, 8 head coaches, 9 coordinators in your first 8 years. But you got to have something about you to keep going. All right. And when we got him, I was always a fan. I go back to his rookie year, Jacksonville at Pittsburgh, and they don't block James Harrison off the edge. And he threw a touchdown, and James Harrison hit him in the mouth about time the ball was going out. He jumped up, went and grabbed his guy. I said, he's going to be a player. And, he won 2 big games for us in Arizona when we were decimated with injuries, And so I know what he can do. And I don't judge records from the past. What are you going to do for me today? And I like what he can do for us today. Yeah, he's been in about 8 systems, but he's been in this one 5 years, and he was crucial to Tom's development, and he's got the answers to the test. Now, does he still have the skill level to do it? I think so.
Bruce, I know you said it'd be bad business to trade Tom, to grant you that request if he did request it. But what if a team made it worth your while?
5 number 1s? Maybe.
So none of it wouldn't tug on your heartstrings at all to do a solid for a guy, that came and played for you?
No. Not at all. No. We'll play golf. If I beat him, he has to come back.
He was only with you guys for 2 years, but how would you kind of sum up the 2-year Tom Brady experience?
Probably as good as you can get. Super Bowl and 42 seconds from a championship game. I mean, more wins in franchise history. So, but it was more than that. Just a great guy and great relationship with his teammates and the coaching staff. He's the ultimate competitor.
A lot of people might view your division as wide open right now with Tom retiring. Do you still view it as, the Bucs division, since you guys have dominated it for the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, we only won it once, but Saints still have that defense. Matt Ryan is still in Atlanta, but I think it's going to be wide open. But I like our chances for sure with our defense. Nobody wants to talk about our defense, but they're not bad.
Coach, last year you tried to get some special teams. 2 years ago you made a couple of starters. What's the focus?
Again, it's more after free agency. Let's see what's that last 30%. What our needs, what are best available. He's better than what we got. Take him. We'll be doing a lot of taking the best player that's available on the board.
Hey, Bruce, I know you've been a huge proponent of Byron and Todd getting their chances to be a head coach, but what does it mean for you returning the season with those guys?
Oh, I mean, I had plans for the opposite because I really thought they were both gone. But part of me is very selfish and really happy they're back. But I want them to be head coaches more so than me being comfortable. And it's going to happen. They're too good not to happen.
Coach, is it a surprise to not as easy for some other.
We're not owners. We know what good coaches look like. We're coaches. And so it's not hard for us. But I've been on these committees now for 10 years. We've made better rules, better progress, but it's still not good enough. Obviously, when those two guys are not head coaches after the last 2 seasons, I think something's wrong.
Coach, without Tom Brady, do you see yourself getting even 10% more involved in the offense?
Not really. I mean, our offense has kind of been there for 20 years when Byron was playing in it. So we can do so many different things. It's really who the players are. And once we get the players, we'll build it around them. Thanks, guys.